Now don't look so confused. You're not watching an old edition of Shogun. You are watching Stepping the World, and yes, I am Richard Hall. And this time we're in Kyoto in Japan.
More on my fancy dress outfit later. This time, be prepared to be completely templed out. Well, after all, you can't come this far and visit Japan's most ancient city and not take in the odd shrine or pagoda or two. Kyoto, in fact, was once the imperial capital and held that position for over 1,000 years. But it's not all temples and stuff, as you'll find out a little later on, I promise. But in the meantime,
One amazing fact about Kyoto is there are over 1,600 temples and shrines. And the only real way to see it, or I should say the best way, is to pick up a map and walk around. The other best way is to pick up a volunteer guide, like Yuko. Here's one I prepared earlier. Where are we now?
Heian Shrine. This is our start of a walking tour, and the tour it will take about 2 hours. This shrine is one of the most biggest one in Kyoto City, and it has about 100 years history, exactly 102 years. 2 years ago, Kyoto City was 1200 years anniversary of the capital, and this one was made by the memory of 1100 years anniversary of Kyoto capital.
The colour's very important here, isn't it?
Yes, this orange color means good luck for Shintoism. So most Shinto has orange pillars, and every Shinto has surely orange sacred gate. We call it Tori Gate.
And that was to stop evil forces coming through, or something like that, was it?
Yes, to protect evil spirits, we painted orange. And in those days, color orange is expensive. That's why they painted orange.
To show their wealth.
Yes.
next stop, and it's the Gion Temple. But before you say you're impressed, this is just the entrance.
And this is basically just a huge gateway, isn't it?
Yes, actually, this gateway is one of the biggest one in Japan. Exactly 24 meters high, two-storied gateway.
Wow.
And why such a big is shogun's government protected this temple because of the headquarters of Jodo Buddhism.
Jodo Buddhism.
Yes,
And
Jodo means the pure land of Buddhism.
oh, the pure land.
Pure land.
Right, pure land. And presumably you can tell it's Buddhism because there's no red paint in it.
Yes, that's right.
The volunteer guide scheme's been put in place by the Japanese Tourist Board, and you can contact them directly for details yourself. But basically, the guides are happy to spend time with you on the basis that they're improving their language skills. Ah, last stop. It's the Kiyomizu Temple.
A great entrance again. But this time I'm confused. This gateway is made of wood, or straight wood and unpainted,
Yes.
and yet the pagoda's orange. I didn't think Buddhism put orange in their buildings.
Actually, that's the exception. Most temples are not painted orange. And actually, we are open to every kind of religions, Buddhism and Shintoism. And in Japan today, we are born in Shintoism style, but we are dying at the funeral of Buddhism style.
What I find difficult to get my head round is that these marvellous buildings are simply only the gates that lead to one of the most outstanding and imposing temples in Kyoto.
This Kiyomizu Temple is one of the oldest one in Kyoto City, and the name of Kiyomizu means clean water. You can drink clean and sacred water here. And this temple is also famous. It's wooden unique veranda. That veranda is composed without a single nail, just jointing wood.
A veranda without nails. Now there's a thing. Quite amazing. This sign, directly translated, says, "Just what are you doing?" And it's placed by a movement in Kyoto out to curb the development of large buildings before they start to dwarf the ancient heritage that the city boasts. And from this vantage point, you can clearly see how quickly the town is growing and the urgent need to take some kind of action. With that in mind, I was amazed to see the construction of this super huge railway station. What I found surprising is that the locals are actually quite proud of it. I think they've all got city fever. This is the part of the programme that I was dreading, and so was the crew because of the wait. As boredom set in, Lloyd was actually starting to accuse me of losing my radio mic somewhere in my costume.
No, the microphone's somewhere in a locker somewhere, along with all my personal possessions, my clothes.
I hope we find the locker now.
All my jewellery's been stripped off.
Let's just see what they've taken off. Essential radio mic. Jewellery. They haven't got his underpants.
They haven't, have they? They have.
Poor man, he'd be lost. Oh, right. As if he's not large enough already. Is he too fat?
The transformation is complete. Film sets are real fantasy land, and when you visit them you should be prepared to see some very odd things going on. That is, of course, aside from the odd acrobatic ninjas going about their daily business. Standing around in 35 degrees of heat, the last thing you'd expect to find is snow on the roofs. But then that's the marvels of film and TV production. Who says the camera never lies? Oh, did I forget to mention the monster? Whatever next?
Kyoto is where the movie industry began in Japan, and this is the Tui movie studio, where you can come in and watch films actually being made. You can also get dressed like this for around 10,000 yen. It's great fun. It takes about 40 minutes, and try not to do it in the middle of the summer. I'm boiling.
Never work with animals, children, or presenters dressed up as shoguns.
What are those famous lines? Wakaramase, wakarama-san. Oh, Anjin-san. Thank heavens I watched Shogun.
In case you're still trying to work it out, 10,000 yen is around £50 sterling, so dressing up in full kit with makeup isn't cheap. But then nothing in Japan is, so make sure when you come you bring plenty of plastic. Movieland itself is set in over 36,000 square metres, and this huge area includes many reconstructions of period backgrounds, including this Edo town. What I really like is the fact that you're allowed to walk in and out of some of the buildings, and it's amazing what you find inside.
Not only can you get dressed up yourself, but you have the opportunity to sit next to girls in the full geisha costume and have your picture taken.
Oh no, another monster. And don't worry if you can't follow the plot, neither could we. We hadn't the foggiest what's going on, but it's the only ninja fight you'll find, I can assure you. If you really want to go back in time and experience the kind of Japan that you imagine sat at home whilst admiring your bridge over a pond ceramic plate, doesn't everyone have one of those? I'm sure you have somewhere. If you haven't, it's time to get one. But anyway, a day trip to Nara is a must. It takes from 35 minutes to 1 hour by train, depending on how much you want to spend. I chose the 45-minute trip that costs around £2.50. Nara is a city even older than Kyoto. Indeed, it was the first permanent capital of Japan. You get an immediate sense of peace and tranquility here. While terrapins bask in the sunshine, deer roam peacefully around the park amongst the temples and shrines. These deer, by the way, are regarded as divine messengers, and they're very polite, and in fact very quick to give you the nod for a little leafy bribe. In Nara Park is the Kofuji complex, where the main temple was built in the year 710 for the powerful Fujiwara family. But perhaps more striking is the 5-storied pagoda that stands proudly at 164 feet. It is the second largest pagoda in Japan. You'll find spires like these on most pagodas, representing water and umbrellas to protect them from fire. Off again, and with a newfound volunteer guide. This time we're heading for the Kasuga Taisha shrine, considered one of the 3 great Shinto shrines of Japan.
We call the Kasuga Shrine's Torii Gate. And Torii Gate is located at any shrine, and it means if you go through the gate, you are purified.
Tell me a little about these lanterns.
Lanterns? Oh, lanterns are gifts from the people from different periods. So some of them dates back to the Kamakura 12th century. And the newest one is probably 1 year old. Still many people donate lanterns. Now we come to the main gate of the Kasuga Shrine, and this is called Nandaimon, or Great South Gate.
It's very impressive.
Very impressive. And I think you noticed that the complicated architecture, this is the influence of Buddhist architecture.
The trees are around here amazing, aren't they?
Oh, trees, some of them are tall cedars, dates back to 700, and many of them more than 1,000 years old.
Wow. The colour's splendid, isn't it?
Yes, it is, because the last year the building was just repainted, and actually they have the custom to repaint the building every 20 years. Not only repainting, also re-roofing has been done every 20 years. Mm-hmm.
But in the past, it used to be rebuilt every 20 years.
Yes, that's right.
But it was always built back to the same specification, the
And
same
the
design.
same design, the same scale. So the building you see now, it's exactly tells about the details, dates back to 768, yes. So this is the inner gate of the Kasuga Shrine, and inside the middle gate, inner gate, you will see 4 individual shrines.
How would you show your respect?
First we must bow twice, and then 2 clapping, and then 1 more bow. Okay,
Sure.
shall we do that?
Yeah. This is one of the greatest attractions in the whole of Japan. Gion Temple is the largest wooden building in the world. Inside this great wooden hall stands a colossal statue of Buddha. Around his head are 12 small Buddha disciples going out around the world to spread the word. The building was actually rebuilt in 1709, and in fact it was only built 1/3 of its original size. Just imagine that it could have ever been bigger than this. you get time at the end of the day, try to visit the gardens behind the temple. They're fantastic, using all of the three elements: water, rocks and plants. And so it's back to Kyoto, and just in time to watch the sun go down. Kyoto comes alive at night, especially on the eve of one of the many festivals of the year. It seems everyone, young and old, are ready to join in the fun. In time past, this whole city surrounded by hills was known as a natural fortress. Today, as well as its ancient treasures, the city is a great commercial centre. In fact, this is the 7th largest city of Japan, with a population of around 1.5 million. The nightlife is tremendous, although hugely expensive. But you can, of course, always just stand by and watch the world go past. Or for that matter, you could just stand by and watch cars go up and down. Quite literally. What is he doing? The strange thing is, I found that quite odd. Everybody else just seemed to take it in their stride. Through the summer months, Kyoto has 5 main festivals. They're completely free of charge, so they attract thousands of visitors as well as locals. Make sure you check dates and book hotels well in advance to avoid any disappointment. You can, of course, get all the information you need from the Japanese tourist office. This is a great chance to see traditional costume and dress at its very best. The 3 main festivals attract the world's media paparazzi. Well, you can't fail with pictures like these, can you?
In case you're wondering what all the fuss is about, well, this is the Gion Festival, and it happens here in Kyoto every 17th of July, so make sure you plan your trip around that. One thing that is slightly confusing is these huge floats don't actually have any form of steering, so they have to turn them round by putting them onto the wood and literally pulling them round.
With the world's press around, we felt a little bit out of the limelight. Everyone was filming everybody, except nobody was filming us. So we thought we'd make up for it, much to the amusement of the locals. And Lloyd. The main festival literally goes right around the town. We've learnt how they go around major corners, but how do they make minor adjustments for those little niggly kinks in the street?
The only way they can do it is by whamming these huge, great lumps of wood under the wheels to move it across a couple of inches. It is absolutely amazing.
It's amazing they don't fall over. To actually be allowed to take part in events like this is extremely difficult. However, I met one American who'd managed to sneak in. I believe it was his 3rd year heaving carts around bends, so I considered him something of an expert and asked him why they simply just didn't put steering on them.
Well, that would take all the drama out of it, don't you think? I mean, that's the excitement of the Kiyomizu, is watching the floats turn.
So this is called Kiyomizu?
Kiyomizu, yes.
Right. And where did this originate? Do you have any idea?
It's about 1,000 years old, and originally to stop a plague in Kyoto. And then later on, they added the hoko. It's more to show the merchants' wealth in the late 15th century, I think.
Do they ever fall over?
God, I hope not. That'd be awful. Yeah. But,
look terribly unsteady.
That's the excitement, you know.
So tell me what happens. You take the wood out from beneath.
Yes. Take the bamboo out, we spread it on the intersection, put a lot of water, we bring the hoko on top of the bamboo, and then they pull the rope off to the side, and then give it a good yank, and we push and try and turn the hoko.
think they're all quite bonkers. Most of these celebrations are associated with the changing season. This one in particular dates back to the 9th century and is definitely Kyoto's most popular event. Maybe there's something in the translation, but see if you can hear them shout "Oh no" just before they turn the cart round. I can't say I blame them. Basically, the procession goes on for the whole day, and most of the practicing and rehearsing goes on through the night, so by the end of it you're pretty tired of hearing bells and whistles. One event you shouldn't miss is on October the 22nd, which is the Kurama Fire Festival, where they literally take a bonfire around the streets. Now that is completely bonkers. Aside from the fact that if you catch a spark, it's supposed to bring you good luck. There, I told you it wasn't all just temples and stuff, didn't I?
Well, that's our programme from Kyoto in Japan. And if you're a first-time visitor, you must come here first, because you really get a taste of what Japan was really like in the olden days. Now, I'll see you next week. That's if I get the makeup off in time.
Well, that's it. That's your lot. Till the next time. Don't make me laugh.
Seen this? It's got whiskey in here.
Don't make me laugh, because my nose will fall off.
Where are we now?
We are at Heian Shrine, and this is the start of our tour. And walking tour, it takes about 1.5 years.
I've got a question for the producer.
Yeah.
How come we've done a sunset in the land of the rising sun?
Well, that's our programme from Kyoto in Japan. And if you're a first-time visitor, you must come here first, because you can really feel what it was like in days of old. Now, if you'll excuse me, I'm off to take my make-off off. They're making a film around here, you know.
You've been